Good morning and happy Wednesday, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. You're watching another episode of Bareham Engines. See what I did there? Right then, guys. So today, you'll be pleased to know we're not going to harp on about the E30 or the kit car or anything like that. We're going to get back to basics, what most of you enjoy. We're going to get out in the workshop. So I've got three things on the go today. I've got to do the long studs for the Cosworth block, the 6 long stud machining. We have got to get the block board and faced for the Golf R, and the same for the Audi TTS. The parts have arrived for both of those motors, including the Marler pistons. So we can get on with a bit of machining today, guys. So first of all, we're going to get the E30 bit, or the thumbnail and title, out of the way. And what that is an update on the body kit for the E30 from Poland. So if any of you have watched the videos of last week, I put it in a couple of videos, the situation with the body kit. But if you haven't watched those videos, I'll very quickly, briefly run through what's happened. So we purchased a kit for about £2,500, which is the M3 replica kit for the E30. We purchased that about 2 months ago. They said it would be about 4 weeks waiting, something like that, including delivery. So I got in touch with them coming up to the 4 weeks. They got back to me and they were very helpful via email. Obviously, I couldn't phone them. They said, yeah, your kit's all done. It's on its way. It's going to be delivered this weekend. He said, weirdly, our deliveries only go out to the UK at weekends. So that was fine. Of course, Sunday came, no delivery. Emailed him on the Monday. He emailed back saying, unfortunately, our driver's broke down in France. He's waiting for another truck. Now, this was 4 weeks ago. From then, no correspondence whatsoever, and obviously no body kit. So that's why I put it in a video. I did, very unlike me, I did mention the company's name. I wasn't slating them, anything like that. What I was saying is, do you think that we've been scammed? Because it was looking pretty much like that. So anyway, the update. The owner of the company got back to me on Monday via email. Bear in mind, it was still Bank Holiday Monday over here. And he said he's very, very sorry. He's just got back off holiday. The body kit was unfortunately delivered back to Poland to them for whatever reason. He said he left it in the hands of somebody to answer for customer services while he was away. But unfortunately, they didn't do a very good job. So that was that. He said, but I have sent your body kit out today. It will arrive this weekend, either Friday or Saturday. He said, but to the point, we are very sorry, but we have been inundated with emails, messages, Facebook messages, and also phone calls on the Monday from our subscribers absolutely slating them. He said, is there any way we can reverse this? And I said, well, I emailed back saying, look, I'm very sorry, but obviously, if the kit does arrive, we really appreciate that. And if it's as good a quality as you say, or your company is renowned for, then we will obviously praise you, you know, to no end. But you have to see it from our point of view. We obviously had no correspondence with you. There was nothing come back. We'd spent quite a lot of money in a foreign country to get a body kit and it didn't arrive. So, you know, what are we meant to think? We didn't slate you as a company. All we said at the time was, what do you think's happened, guys? Have we been scammed? Because it was pretty much looking that way. So yeah, that's where we've left it. He hasn't responded to that, but he assures me Friday, Saturday, it's going to be here. So fingers crossed, guys, it turns up, firstly, and secondly, it's of good a quality as he says it's going to be. So thank you very much for all you guys that have stood up for us there. Whether it's done the trick, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but we will be reporting back. All right, guys, so I'm just starting to do the 6 long studs on this block, and the reason we are doing that mainly because the guy wants to push a bit more power, but also because, as usual, on the 200 blocks, we've got the cracks that are going from the waterway into the bolt hole, and the problem is with that is not only can water travel into that thread, but the strength obviously of that thread can sort of push the thread apart, and you can lose the tension on the bolt. So obviously by long studding it, we're going to drill out that thread at the top there, go through into the water jacket, down to the base of the water jacket, into the base of the block, and we're going to drill and tap down there. Then we use a long stud with a seal over the middle. Obviously we put a 17 mil by 5 mil counter bore in the top here, and we run one of those light blue O-rings sort of seals that go slide over the stud and down into that groove, and that eliminates any sort of leakages that come past there from down in the base of the block. And then obviously all the strength and tension is took away from the surface of the block and is now put into the base of the block. So great idea. Even if you haven't got the cracks, it's a great idea if you want to tune these engines, and obviously put more boost through, because more boost means more sort of tension on the studs. And what happens over time is it pulls up the thread on the base of on the top of the block, and you normally find, even if it hasn't cracked, when you face these blocks, give them a very, very light lick over, you normally find it cleans up around these bolt holes first, and that is because it started to pull the block up, and it gets to a point where it pulls it up so much that it does that, it cracks. So we've done the first one, guys. We're just going to do the second one now. On these second ones here, because it doesn't go through into the water jacket, it's not a through hole. This is all one big casting here, goes down to the base. We don't actually do the seal at the top, so we just drill tap all the way down, and we tap at the bottom the same, but it doesn't go through to the water jacket, so we don't need a seal on the top. Not only that, but if we don't put a seal on the top on this one, it doesn't intrude in the oil hole that goes down to the main oil gallery. So that's another reason for not bothering with these two. On this side, which is the main oil gallery side, we go down 120 millimeters with the tapping drill. On this side, you don't have to on this, because obviously it's not a through hole, you've got, you know, endless casting, but these two in particular, and these two if you're doing the 10 studs, we go down another 5 millimeters. And the reason for that is, in the base of this block here, it doesn't go straight down to the actual base of the block. There is a casting lug here. And what tends to happen on the older style studs is you just don't drill and tap deep enough, and the casting, bear in mind, is about 5 mil deep. So what can happen over time, because you haven't got that much thread in the actual base of the block below the casting, it can break that lug off, and then it sort of takes a big chunk out of the base of the block as well, and then you're into trouble then, because no matter what you do, you can't get enough threads in the base of the block. So with these studs, where you've got the sort of movable O-ring in the middle, you can basically go down as far as you want. So we go down another 5 mil on these two, and what that does is you sort of bypassing the lug and then going down to the base of the block. The reason we can't do it on this side, one, there isn't a lug on this side, but two, you can't go any further, because then you're into the main oil gallery. So that's why we only do it on this side. Right guys, so here we have the Golf R. So this is the one that sits over there normally. So as you can see, I've just rebored it plus 5 mil. We have all the bits. If I head over here, we've got, well, most of the bits, to be honest. You see we've got the bearings, the con rods, gaskets, Marler pistons here with the rings. So yeah, got quite a bit of stuff for this, guys. So now we've got the pistons for it. I've just rebored this block, and I'm just giving it a very light face, although I give it a 3 thou cut on the face a minute ago and it didn't clean, and it looks to me like it's not 100% cleaning just in the center of the bores there, so you're probably going to have to give it another couple of thou. So that's probably going to be about 7-8 thou. So obviously we're going to have to do a dummy build, do a bit of modding to the piston crowns. But that is typical really of this old stuff. I think this has done a head gasket anyway, or if it hadn't, it soon would have been. So we'll just finish this one, then we're going to hone that, then obviously we can get that back on the stand and give it a good clean up. In the meantime, guys, we've got the Audi TTS. That is the block there, sitting on that bit of cardboard. All I'm going to do is just whip the crank out of that, Apart from that, it's pretty stripped. We've got most of the bits here. So we've got rods, pistons again, Marler pistons. We've got main bearings, still waiting for big end bearings and a conversion set, and also the ARP head stud and nut kit. We've got the ARP main stud and nut kit. So once I've got the crank out of this, we'll give it a clean up, and I'll get it on the boring bar and bore that out to 0.5 of a mil and face it, same as the Golf R really. So what I'm going to do, first of all, we've centered this hole by using this, and what I do is I put that in the chuck and just center it down there so it fits nicely. Then what we do, we've got the clearance drill here, and you can see I've put some tape on there, and the reason for that, I know that tape there, 5 mil less than that tape is how deep we want to go there. If we're going 5 mil deeper on these two, then I go down to the actual tape, and that is 105 mil. So yeah, while I'm doing this, guys, I've just had a visit from a subscriber that's down on holiday. Really nice chap. I'm not going to mention his name because I'll be honest with you, I didn't plan on putting him in a video or mentioning him, and I didn't ask if it was okay to use his name, so I'm not going to do that. But he's actually the gentleman that purchased the 3-door Cosworth that was from the Silverstone auctions, I think last year or 2 years ago. I actually watched a video from Adam Smith, who went to Paul Linfoot's, who's doing a recommission on it, and did a bit of a review on it. But it was actually the most expensive standard 3-door Cosworth ever sold with, I think with fees, £103,500, and he was the gentleman that bought it. Yeah, really nice guy. He obviously watches the channel, he's a subscriber, and he's particularly interested in the Cosworth machine, and that's why I brought him up now while I'm doing this, really. And so it was really nice of him to pop in. Always appreciate any of our subscribers, if they're down on holiday, coming in, seeing us. But yeah, he came in and we was just having a chat about it, and I thought, the reason really I'm sort of mentioning it on here is because obviously we get a lot of negative comments. You know, you can't please everyone with the YouTube channel, and he was saying he read the comments, I think, when Adam Smith did the review on this chap's car, and he said there was loads of negative comments, people saying, oh, you've wasted your money, this, that, the other. And we were like, I said, mate, if I read all of my comments, as you know, you cannot please everyone. A lot of my subscribers sort of stand by us and they like what we're doing. At the moment, they don't seem to like a bit of change. Some of them, they don't like the fact that we're doing stuff on this E30, but I suppose they are the hardcore machining fans, really. But like I said to you, the idea really is of doing that is to maybe encourage a few more subscribers with different interests into the channel. Really nice chap, absolutely lovely car, and may he enjoy it for a long time in the future. Hopefully not putting too many more miles on it. That's the only trouble with owning a car like that. But I did say to him it was a little bit like me buying my Lamborghini, really. The idea was to buy a nice low mile example, and the downside to buying that and spending that little bit more to get a nice low mile example is you can't put too many miles on it. But at the end of the day, they are there to be enjoyed and driven. They're a car and shouldn't be an ornament. So yeah, on nice days in the summer, I suppose you have got to enjoy them. So there you go, you can see now I've drilled that hole there, drilled the thread right out, and we've gone down, because it doesn't go into the water jacket, not a through hole. You can see why we don't bother putting the seal in the top. One, it's another machining process, and two, because you're sort of encroaching into that oil hole. Bit unnecessary, really. You can see this one, we put the 17x5 counter bore, and that's where the seal will sit inside there. So we'll get the rest of these done, guys, and this block will all be done then. So also in here we've got the cylinder head for the Audi TTS. we've got to go through that. We've ordered a pair of cams for it. Obviously the pistons and rods in there, which we're not going to be using now. So we'll go through that, give it a birthday, obviously pressure test it, give it a good soda blast, etc. The customer's going to be building this, so really all we're doing is the machining, etc. But we're just going to check that head out, stick the cams in, and make sure everything turns okay, and then he's going to be assembling the engine. Right, very quickly guys, I'm not going to dwell on the subject today. I know many of you have had enough of it, but we've just had the new windows turn up for the E30. So these windows are the thermoformed hardened windows. So the thermoform means that it keeps the original curvature of the original windows, but obviously they're a hardened plastic. They have got the sliders in the front drivers and passenger windows. So we're not going to unpack those. We'll keep them so they don't get scratched, etc. But yeah, really excited to see those in. The doors are over here. Now we're going to be running these back to Mikey Dove, but Stuart has had them. And as I said, you can see here he's sort of semi-finished them. Still obviously work to do, but Mikey needs them back to fit on the car to make sure the kit and everything lines up. But what he's done is, you know, on the standard E30, we've got that indent here where the trim sits inside. Well, obviously on the M3 you don't have that. So what he's done is he's welded a plate in there, and then he's lead filled it, and then just fillered it over the top very slightly. So obviously there is some work to do that is just rough, but you can see the general idea there. And I'm sure they're going to look absolutely lovely when we're finished. So this is the Cosworth 200 block, guys. You can see there I've finished the studs. See those cracks now where I've faced it. You can see those either side, but they don't matter anymore. You can see the centre two, which are not through holes, like I said. We don't do the counter bore in the top for the seal. There's no need. But that is all done. We've got a set of hydraulic lifters here, a new set for the customer. Now these, and not a lot of people know this, as Michael Caine says, but a lot of these hydraulics for the Cosworths that you see floating around for sort of 80 to 100 pounds, they're not actually the original Cosworth ones. They are a Volkswagen lifter, and they're only a single chambered, whereas these ones are a twin chambered original Cosworth hydraulic. They're almost twice the money, but they do the job. What we've noticed in the past, these weren't available for quite a while, in fairness, so the only thing we could use was the single chambered, and the problem with the single chambered is after a certain amount of miles they start tapping, or we could get the odd set that they just don't hold the oil in, and with the Larry cams of the Cosworth, they just end up making a noise, especially when it's cold. So yeah, got him a set of the twin chambered, just waiting for the long studs now, and this is ready to go back to the customer. Well guys, thank you very much for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed that. Until Friday, have a great evening, and we will see you then. You take care. Cheers.